Welcome to Untamed Blossoms, the podcast where we celebrate the untamed journey of womanhood. Here, we tell the stories of incredible women who have embraced their authenticity, inspiring others to do the same.
From entrepreneurs to artists, activists to adventurers, we share triumphs, challenges, and the beauty of self-discovery. These are the stories of women blazing their own trails, breaking free, and blooming unapologetically.
Join us to connect, be inspired, and celebrate the power of women's stories. Together, let's rewrite the rules and embrace our wildness.
Welcome to Untamed Blossoms. I'm your host, Amanda Riley.
And I'm Christy Riley. Welcome to the show.
Isn't it crazy that we have a whole new setup?
I know. And it's going to change probably next episode.
The good news is I am loving the aesthetic of the real blossoms
I know.
under our sign.
These are from our Galentine's event.
So cute.
Horrible. I thought it would be a nice little...
Yeah.
Sorry, the couch is gone.
The couch, although very cute,
Was not functional.
I mean, I guess it depends on the function that you want for a couch.
Yeah.
But if you prefer to be sitting upright.
We're experimenting with our set here to make everyone comfortable, including our guests, and trying to find a decent camera angle in our little space here. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but we're figuring it out.
Yeah. Work in progress.
Work in progress, always.
I mean,
the beginning.
Yeah, I was going to say it's never.
We are not private about that. This has been, a work in progress from the start.
Yeah.
We're getting better all the time.
Every single second.
We're not afraid of change.
Hard right. I have been really into jellyfish lately. Did I tell you that?
Yes, you thought they were aliens.
Yeah. Something I do feel like I talk about this too much, but there is a SpongeBob episode. Stay with me here.
I'm with you.
Where he plays like this house music, these huge like speakers, and the jellyfish are all like with like all the little tentacles, right? And I was showing Sarah, I told her when I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm disassociating, I envision myself as one of those jellyfish in SpongeBob, just like vibe into the music, but like, kind of aggressively, Yeah. And I sent her the YouTube clip, which I will happily send to you as well. And then she sent me this beautiful thing about jellyfish and a gene key about jellyfish, that they are known as a mycelium of the sea.
Well, of course. No wonder you're identifying with them. Is it part of your gene keys?
I don't really know if it is or not, but she just showed me what the jellyfish had to say within a gene key. I'm still not, I told you I am like an imposter spiritual person sometimes because I know a lot, but I don't know a lot. And I was like, all I know is I saw what I needed to see.
Yeah. You're like, it's proven to me that I must be involved with jellyfish.
They're the connectors. They're known as the connectors.
Same way as mushrooms, which you're wildly drawn towards.
So I just think,
And what is your human design's biggest thing that you're supposed to be doing?
Connecting people.
So of course you're going to identify with the other connectors on this planet.
It's just
from out of the world. Isn't it crazy?
Though? Like, I'm not like, I went to an aquarium and the jellyfish really spoke to me. I'm like, there was an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't even have kids. Why am I watching that? I was too old. Like, I don't even know how this came across, but
here we are. And yet here we are.
And yet at the ripe age of 38 and a half.
Well, what else did you discover today? You said you had a major epiphany about how all things are connected.
Yeah.
So,
I've been really, really thinking about the interconnectivity of things a lot lately. Mostly because I'm feeling overwhelmed with what's happening, especially in this country and politically. I need some grounding before I have a stroke. And I've just been trying to find the connection in things. And what I go back to a lot, and Sarah really helped me with this yesterday, is music is the thing. That's why I love going to concerts.
Right.
the connectivity that you feel with the concert goers around you is so pure, and that you can't possibly know anything about them except for you're enjoying the exact same moment at the same time through this music.
Right.
And the jellyfish thing happened to be a musically themed scene, right? Like, and it's just like, it's been interesting to get reminded that it's easier to stay grounded when I'm staying in my center. And that when I'm feeling this way, like last night, I listened to a guided meditation for sleep. I don't really do that ever,
Yeah.
but just like the sound and like to help me like stay grounded because my mind was kind of swirling yesterday at night. So, yeah, I've just been trying to really lean into the interconnectivity of everything, and then staying in my vein of I know that music helps me do that.
And that all the things that you've been doing in the past are now playing out in
Totally.
it very much in guests on the podcast and things that are happening in your current life that you didn't realize was going to play forward.
Yeah,
No?
everything happens for a reason.
Everything.
And it
I
all comes back
1,000%
around.
believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to see those things bro.
Be interesting to talk to our guest maybe about that today.
Yeah. So our guest today, you found her. Tell us a little bit about her.
I found her on Instagram, and it turns out, and I got interested really because I was like, wow, she's in my backyard, and I love all things health and wellness and earthy and all the things. And she runs an organic bamboo bedding company, and she's literally 5 minutes down the road from me, and I had no idea.
Wow.
So yeah, and just I'm interested to hear about her journey and how she sort of landed in this field. It seems to be that she's like a mom and decided that she wanted something better for her kids and started this business. But I don't know that for sure. That's just the vibe I got from her Instagram. And so I was like, wow, that'll be an interesting story. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
She's in my backyard. Look, her stuff looks really beautiful. And yeah, I can't.
The cool thing and the weird thing about social media and the internet in general is you see all these amazing people doing all these amazing things all over the world, yet there are people maybe 2 miles down the road
Yeah.
who are also doing incredible things that are inspiring other people, and it's very cool that you found her in the interweb jungle, but really.
I mean, it is. And it's not, it used to be that you knew that you were a business owner because you had a storefront.
Right.
Right. And so now with all the things, with Amazon, with all the places that you can sell things, even as a single person out of your garage, you can be an Amazon salesperson and have a full thriving business.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever know that you were a business owner. Right.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to know what's in your backyard when she's mostly online, it's an online business. So it'll be cool to talk to her. Yeah.
Really excited.
Yeah.
Hey, Mandy, welcome to the pod.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here too.
It's so funny. I'm Amanda, obviously. And people always are like, do you like Mandy? Like to be called Mandy? I'm like, it's Barry Manilow.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Do you get that?
I do.
Yeah. People sing it to you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it kind of just rolls off my shoulder now. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, so it's fine.
Yeah, no.
It's just, I just can't. People have always called me by my last name, though.
Oh, yeah.
Almost always. Because Amanda in 1986, very popular name.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Totally.
Yep.
That and Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
Very popular.
Yep.
Yes.
We have many of them in my dorm room. So we just all went by last names, and it's stuff.
Hey,
yeah.
Whatever works.
Yeah, all your friends still call you Riley.
All of them.
All of them.
So much so that I didn't take my husband's last name.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, it's kind of a thing.
It's
Riley.
Kind of who I am at this point. It's like my first name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do tell him maybe one day we'll see. So.
In college, my nickname was Man Dog for whatever reason. M Dog or Man Dog. And not sure why, but I kind of stuck for a little bit.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, so funny. So are you from Westerville, Columbus area, or where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Pittsburgh. That's where my family's from, and that's where I lived for the majority of my life. I went to college at Drexel University in Philadelphia.
Oh.
So I lived there for 4 years, and then an additional year after that, I majored in fashion merchandising. And
nice.
Yeah, that's where my first job was. And then I kind of bumped around to Fort Wayne, Indiana for a few years. I worked at Vera Bradley. And then I moved to Columbus, Ohio with my husband because he got a job at L Brands. And then I got a job at Abercrombie. And then, so we've been here for 9 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So school, you went for fashion design,
Fashion merchandising. Yep.
Okay. And what is that? Like, what did you study? Like, obviously, like I know a lot of people who studied fashion specifically, but what does the merchandising side of things look like?
It's kind of like the business side of fashion.
Okay.
So I dabbled a little bit in like design, but it's also kind of just like the marketing, the business side behind it. My mom has a boutique and she's an entrepreneur. So growing up, I kind of always saw her do like the business side and also kind of the creative side. And that kind of sparked my interest and love for fashion and just merchandising and design and kind of like that whole creative world.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you get to see it what the setup's going to be in the store, like what's going to be forward facing, what do you pair together, that kind of stuff. The aesthetic of what the store looks like too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, is that separate from like ordering, like the how much you order and all that stuff? Is that a separate thing?
It kind of goes hand in hand. I did a lot of like inventory, like planning, ordering, like we'd go to trade shows, we'd kind of figure out like how many, pieces we needed and what color. And it was kind of just interesting, kind of learning like the analytical side behind it, but then also like the creative side.
Yeah.
Are you full-time in your current business or are you still at Abercrombie?
Yes, I'm full-time.
Full-time. Yeah. I was going to say it's a big business, it looks like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks big, but it's still kind of small.
Still small. Got you. Got you.
Right now it's, I work full-time. My husband works full-time with it. We hired my best friend to do customer service. She's part-time. And then we recently hired my brother full-time.
Oh, that's
to help
awesome.
us. So we're kind of like keeping it in the family, but so it's really just the four of us.
That's awesome. But then that's 3 full-time and a part-time person. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of people think we're a lot bigger than we are. And I'm like, well,
your website presents as if you're bigger than you are for sure.
Thank you. All of your Instagram stuff.
Yeah. I was like, this is so impressive. And what if I want of everything? I was like, but I want all of it. And my husband's like, I mean, one of everything.
Let's start off.
But I want to change our whole bed, honey. This is a new house, and I wanted all new bamboo stuff. And so, it's great. So tell us how you decided to go and jump from Abercrombie to this.
Yeah. So both my parents are entrepreneurs. They both had their businesses growing up. And it's just something that I saw from a very young age and something that I knew that I wanted to do. Kind of just seeing the challenges they faced, the unique opportunities they had, just being their own boss, the flexibility. And it was just something that I yearned for and something that I knew that I might not be able to do right out of school, but it was a goal that I wanted to work towards.
Yeah.
So after I was in the corporate world for about 10 years, I just knew that starting my own business was something that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny how we landed on bedding because a lot of people are like, you have like a passion for bedding, like it's so random, like why bedding? And I'll tell you the story. So at the time, my husband and I were living in Uptown Westerville in this old like Cape Cod house, and the upstairs barely didn't get like any AC at all. It was so hot.
For every house in Uptown Westerville.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like we would just wake up in the middle of the night sweating. It was so uncomfortable. It was miserable. And I was like, there has to be another way. Like a different material we can be sleeping in that isn't some like shitty like microfiber like just crap material. So I did a lot of research on textiles and fabrics and just kind of having that background and fashion and merchandising. I kind of had like a little bit of insight to that, but I kind of took a deeper dive into like what materials are breathable and cooling. And I found out about bamboo and we ordered some samples. And the first night we slept on them, I was like, these are amazing. These are literally game changing. And I was like, we have to share these with the world because we slept cooler. It was so comfortable. We slept through the whole night. And people don't really think that like sheets make a huge difference, but they really do. Like when you spend literally a third of your life in bed, like you want to be sleeping on something comfortable and not something like scratchy or itchy or it's making you
Which is
sweat.
why I wanted one of everything.
You need it.
I want my bed to be nice.
Self.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more rewarding than having a long, stressful day and getting into bed and feeling just like that comforted.
Yes.
And I would love to get into this. We don't have to do it right now, but like I have like severe allergies to everything, right? And also certain materials in your bed collect more of that stuff.
Exactly.
So
And that's
I don't know
really
the science, but I'm sure you might. So
well, that's one really good thing about bamboo because I also have allergies. I have really bad eczema growing up. Really bad. And bamboo is hypoallergenic. It is amazing for people with eczema. It's really, really good for sensitive skin.
That's awesome.
And that was one thing we wanted to do a little bit differently, because obviously we're like not the only people that sell bamboo bedding. There's other people that do it too. But we wanted to go a step further and make sure that everything that we sold was free of harmful chemicals. So we do very strict like third-party testing to make sure there's no harmful chemicals in anything that we sell. It's even safe for babies.
Wow.
We have crib sheets. Everything is super soft. It's sustainably grown. It's organically grown. It doesn't use pesticides. A lot of people don't realize that like fabrics like cotton are just heavily sprayed with pesticides. And like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be laying in like a vat of chemicals when I go to bed at night.
Yeah. When you think about your skin being your largest organ.
Exactly.
And how much that direct contact, if you sleep naked, like, I don't know, someone might.
Yeah. I'm sure.
I do. You don't want to be like wrapped up in all of that.
Yeah.
And if you're not aware, you know. And it's funny because when Christy mentioned your business, when I think of bamboo, I think of like bamboo, like the shoots. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
You know, and I was in Costa Rica not too long ago and seeing that bamboo just like growing in the wild. Like that's just like what my mind conjures.
Right.
Not like into a textile.
I know, it's crazy because it's so hard to kind of wrap your head around like how do you go from these like bamboo shoots to like this super silky, buttery, soft material. But the process is crazy. But we use it's called a closed loop process. We use water and we don't use any harmful chemicals in the production of any of our goods. So it's really cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And are they all made here in Ohio?
So no, everything is made in China, which I know China sometimes gets a bad rap. However, that's where bamboo is flourishes. That's where it grows. So like a lot of people will say, well, like your stuff's made in China. I'm like, literally, like you cannot make bamboo if it's, I mean, you can't really grow it if it's not in China. Like I mean, I guess you could, but that's just where it grows.
Yeah.
The climate is perfect for it.
Right.
The ecosystem is perfect for it. People in China who have been growing bamboo, like that's just like what they do. They're like masters at it.
Yeah.
So it just
they're
makes
thinking
sense.
like fast fashion, factory made. And really this is about the plant in and of itself and those who are able to work with it appropriately and sustainably.
Right. And that's why we wanted to go a step further, because I was saying like we want to make sure this is organically grown bamboo. This like we don't want any pesticides, we don't want any harmful chemicals. Because people get a little nervous when they buy things from China. So we wanted to get those certifications to really put people's minds at ease when they purchase from us.
Right. Yeah. It's important to me. I mean, I know that I try really hard not to buy things that have those things in them.
Sure.
But then you don't really know. Sometimes you don't know. Yeah. And it's nice to have that third-party test, right? Yeah. Where you find like, oh, Lululemon suddenly has forever chemicals in the crotch of all of their leggings that everybody doesn't wear underwear with, right? Like that suddenly comes out and you're like, you know, like I had a pair like gone. See, you know, like I don't want to wear those anymore. So you just never know. So it's good to have that, I think. And people are becoming more and more conscious of that and want that acknowledgement that it doesn't have all that stuff in them. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. It puts a lot of people's minds at ease. And it puts my mind at ease. Like I wouldn't personally use our bedding if I knew it had that stuff, you know, and especially if we have kids.
Right.
So it's like I wouldn't let my 1-year-old daughter sleep on our crib sheets knowing, you know, if I knew it had any harmful chemicals. So I think it's super important for people to know that like they can feel safe sleeping on it. And
so tell us about the startup process. Tell us about your, you know, everybody seems to have them. Maybe it's been amazingly smooth for you, but I'm assuming there's been some bumpy road. So tell us about that and kind of how you guys navigated that and got past it and continue to grow as you just added another part-time employee.
I would say the hardest part has just been like figuring out how to juggle motherhood and our business. That has been something that, you know, when we first started our business, we had one daughter, and I feel like it was doable. It was hard in the beginning, just trying to figure out like, you know, how much should we order, or like, you know, how do we market this? How do we create a website? I heard about like influencer marketing at the time on Instagram, and that's actually proven to be huge for us. But like just getting started, getting in front of those people who are going to help promote your brand was really hard. But it was manageable, and we kind of figured it out along the way. But then we added a second daughter to the mix, and I'm like, okay, well now my time is even stretched more thin. And I don't have as much time to do, all the work that I was doing in the evenings. Now I have to, deal with 2 children. And now we have 3 kids. So I feel like which we're totally done. Like, I'm like, I cannot. Like, I cannot do this. Like, they are
I've hit my capacity.
yeah, they're the biggest blessings in the whole wide world. But I was like, 3 is good. We're good.
Yeah.
But I would say just honestly, just juggling like my time, having to switch from like mom mode, mom brain where it's like, mommy, I'm hungry, or, my foot hurts or whatever, just like everything that you deal with to like, okay, now I need to shift back into like businesswoman mode and like getting shit done and like figuring out like, okay, we need to place a reorder because we're getting low in stock in these items, and like just kind of constantly shifting from like that mom hat to the businesswoman hat has probably been the hardest for me.
Yeah. And what have you found has been your biggest helpers?
I would say just relying on other people. Like,
Nice.
yeah, and that's something that it was really hard for me because I feel like as women and as mothers, it's so hard to ask for help because you kind of feel like you always want to take everything on. And
we're supposed to be super women.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be able to do it all.
Right.
We're supposed to be a boss bitch. We're supposed to be a full-time mommy. We're supposed to be a wife. We're supposed to be a daughter. We're supposed to be
yeah, it's so true. And society kind of just expects women to be like, well, you should excel at your career. You need to excel at motherhood and do it effortlessly.
Yeah.
And that's really not the case. I mean, it's hard.
Most women feel like they're failing at all of those things. Yeah. Like you never are doing anything at 100%. Like if you are doing your business at 100%, motherhood is suffering.
Exactly.
Or like there's not a support system to delegate things to because you are the support for everybody else,
right.
And then there's no one around for you to offload that, too.
So true. Yeah. And mom guilt is a real thing. People are like, you feel like if you are maybe you had a really productive day and you got a lot of work done, but then you kind of think like, oh, I didn't spend enough time with the kids. And, oh, I really should have read them in that extra story. Or maybe I should have just spent more time coloring with them.
Yeah.
Or it's the opposite. Maybe I spend an entire day where I really try to focus on the kids, but then I'm like, oh, I really didn't get those emails that I needed to get done. Or, I have 15 other things that I need to do off my checklist.
Right.
So it's kind of just juggling and finding that balance between like making sure you're present for your kids and really spending quality time with them one-on-one. But then also like, okay, I need to get work done. And like, I need to make sure that the business succeeds.
Right.
Totally.
Right. And has your husband been an integral part in you guys? I mean, it's a family business, right? So now everybody, really, your brother and everybody's involved in the business. So it sounds like you have a tight knit family support system in place to make that easier.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so nice because my husband and I were totally like the yin and yang. We like that whole saying, like opposites attract. It's very true with us. He's the brains, the analytical side. He does all the finance, and I'm more of the creative, fun, like social media, marketing side. So he's been really helpful, just, helping me grow this business and helping out with the kids, anytime I need it, and saying, if he needs to get stuff done, I'm there to help.
Is he full-time in the business now too?
Yes.
Both of you guys are. So this is your full-time gig.
Yeah, this is our full-time gig.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how did that transition go? Did you guys I know you jumped right in and he stayed at L Brands for a while, or?
So I was actually still working part-time. So in between starting Abercrombie and starting our business, I was working at a real estate office doing marketing for a few years. So before we kind of just jumped right in, we did our business a little bit part-time for like a year just to really make sure it was feasible.
Right.
And I just felt like it was a little bit less overwhelming, just like rather than quitting my job full-time and being like, hopefully this works. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we kind
of that's great advice. It's hard.
Yeah.
But it's great advice to make sure that you're not just putting yourself in a financial shitstorm.
Exactly.
To support something that's not going to, and put yourself in a bad spot. So
yeah. I definitely think taking baby steps helps. And it just helps you not get so overwhelmed in the beginning. Because you're still kind of like doing what you were doing before. But maybe in the evening, you're spending an hour, 2 hours, kind of just dabbling in something new that you're interested in, or a new business or a new endeavor. So that definitely helped to make the transition a little bit more, easy. And then after about a year, we were like, okay, like sales are trending upwards. I think we can do this. And at that point, we were able to both quit our jobs, and we were just like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
But I know it's so hard in the beginning because I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to everything, like the website and our logo and like the product and making sure everything's perfect. But I realized that it's so much better just to start and not really focus on it being perfect because nothing's ever perfect.
Yeah.
Like, when is
What is a
anything ever perfect in life?
beautiful message.
Yeah.
It's more important to start, take baby steps, and just kind of figuring it out.
Pivot when
along
you
the way.
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just learn
figure
as
it
you
out.
go.
Yeah.
Well, I think we actually talk about this almost every single episode of just like that fear of it not being perfect. So you're frozen in indecision of starting, right?
Yes.
But we also get a lot of messaging of what we see people who are entrepreneurs doing
Mhm.
and how cute and fun and it looks so nice.
Yeah.
And so not messy.
Right.
In reality, it's way more messy than that.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not going to be able to work next to a pool sipping a mojito. You know what I mean? That's not what the first year looks like.
Right.
No.
You're under
Or
a
the
blanket.
second, or the third, or
Yeah.
the fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, no,
It's
it's
just
in a
so
warehouse organizing your
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
it's your kids running around like banshees while you're trying to get something done in a
Exactly.
warehouse or somewhere else, or you're trying to have a meeting, or like it's a lot of shuffle is what
Yeah.
it is. It's messy.
Yeah.
It's really messy.
When we first started, we actually did fulfillment out of our basement.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, like, that, if that doesn't tell you, like, we were bootstrapping like
Yes.
hard AF. Like, it was
Yes.
Yeah.
like I don't even know how we were doing it, but we were doing it. And then we were like, okay, well, now we're kind of outgrowing the basement. Now we need to move to the garage. And then we were like fulfilling stuff out of there. And my husband would be like driving to, UPS or whatever, like delivering shipments. And it's crazy. Like, anytime we'd have like an influencer talk about us, we get like 50 sales. And I'm like, oh my God, like we're going to outgrow our garage. And then we
Right.
moved into like a warehouse space, and my husband was still doing the fulfillment, and it was like becoming his full-time job, literally
Right.
just doing fulfillment. But now
Wow.
we've gotten to the point where we can't even do our own fulfillment anymore because it would take too much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's just crazy.
But
like,
that's
how it
good,
starts.
right?
Yeah.
And so, and it's great for people to hear that really want to do something.
Yeah.
To say, it's okay for it to be
Yeah.
okay to be in my basement.
Oh, yes.
And now you're in a warehouse and you've outsourced and you have 3 employees.
Right.
Like, and although you started by saying it's not that big yet, wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, from how far it's come, and it's supporting your entire family,
Right.
which is not a small feat. I know that if both of you are working at Abercrombie and L Brands, you were making decent wages, right? Like, you were making decent salaries.
Yeah.
So to be able to be an entrepreneur and replace your salary, I think is a really big deal, and really feel comfortable enough, like, okay, we're going to move away from 401ks and health insurance and the safeties that are all wrapped up in
So
corporate
true.
America, that
Having PTO days where you can just take a day.
Oh my gosh. I
miss those
to
too.
do.
Yeah.
having PTO,
Yeah.
like, and it's not for everybody. And I think that,
Right.
and I think the more we talk about that too, is like, yeah, if you go on vacation, who covers, right? Like, we are entrepreneurs, and when we go on vacation, we have to check in at least once a day.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get a week off of just not thinking about work. That's
Exactly.
it's not an option.
Right.
Yeah.
Period. The end, not an option.
Yeah.
So, your business has to continue without you, and it can run without you, but it still needs direction, and people need to get a hold of you and all the things. So,
Right.
and that might not be for everybody. And I also want people to hear that that's okay.
Yeah. That's totally fine.
We need
Mhm.
employees too.
Yeah.
People need employees to work for them, and having safety and security and a steady paycheck. And there's a lot of people on this planet that are totally okay with that.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But
Mhm.
if you're that person, that
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah. You have to just do it. You
Just
have to
do it.
start.
Yeah.
You have to start. And I know it's scary. And like, when we first started, I remember thinking, I was like, if we just sold, like, I literally remember thinking this, if we sold 1 sheet set a day, I was like, that would cover like a part-time job, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if we sold 2 sheet sets a day? That
Right.
would be like a full-time job.
Yeah.
What if we sold 3?
Right.
And then I was like, holy shit. Like, I think we can do this.
yeah.
Like, if you start small and you kind of just like, you look at it through like that micro lens, you realize that like it only takes a little bit of effort to really kind of move that needle and to see like, I think we can actually do this.
It's the whole
Yeah.
make it manageable and make it bite size,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I recently quit my corporate job too, and I'm doing a lot of different things. But at first, I remember thinking, there's no way I could ever quit. I could not afford that.
Right.
Because you think in the way of, well, like how you're living right now.
Exactly.
And you think in the way of what you're used to. And then when it really comes down to it and you're burnt out and you have to go, you'd be surprised what you can actually
do with
live
that.
off of.
Mhm.
Yeah, like what you can do. And then when you break it down, saying, this is how much I really actually have to make a month
Right.
to be able to pay my bills.
Yep.
So this is how many hours at this job or that job or whatever you have to do. When you really start to look at it in those bite-sized pieces,
Mhm.
it gives you way more permission and control to take a risk.
Oh, totally.
But when
Yeah.
you're looking at the macro level, it's like, how will I ever do this?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Especially when you fronted it and it's in your basement. Like, I could do this. I could mail out 1 sheet a day.
Right.
Part-time done.
Yeah.
This is easy. I can do that. Not a problem, right? And it
Exactly.
becomes way more manageable in your brain versus, wow, I'm running a giant bedding company now, and I've got warehousing and trucks and employees and
Yeah.
right, like we can get down the road, I think, of what it's gonna be or what you want it to be,
Right.
and then be like,
Yeah,
I don't know where to
scary.
start.
Yeah, people get nervous
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's just too overwhelming."
Yeah.
But you have to take it little by little. And like, especially when I first started working, when we first were dabbling in this, I was literally working from like 9 p.m. to midnight.
yeah.
That's the only time I got. It was when my
Yeah.
kids were sleeping, and I was like, okay, here's 3 hours every night that I can dedicate to this business.
Right.
And like, obviously, the hours aren't ideal,
Yeah.
but
Right.
like, if you're trying to start something, you have to kind of take what you can get.
Kind of do
Yeah.
what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially as a mom, that's,
Yeah.
put them all to bed and do what you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
Or during nap time,
Yeah.
I'm still breastfeeding my youngest one. So, to breastfeed her, put her down for a nap. And then I'm just, all right, I have an hour and a half to work
Yeah.
if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, let's bang out some emails. Let's like try to prioritize as much as I
Yeah.
can.
So I would love to know, you were working at Vera Bradley for a while, right? And then of course you moved to Abercrombie.
Yep.
What are some things that you gleaned from your time there that you're like, wow, this really helped me be successful now? Like another thing we talk about a lot is every step you take
Mhm.
helps you learn something that makes you more successful in what you want to do.
Yeah.
So we'd love to know, like, what were those nuggets you got from both of those places?
So when I worked at Vera Bradley, I did a rotational program. It was really interesting because I got to dabble in like multiple departments for 3 months each. So I did fashion design, fashion merchandising, planning and allocations, which is kind of like inventory planning, and then sourcing and production. So I really got to see like the full world of like how it worked, but like only for a year, which was kind of cool. And then from there, I got to pick which one was my favorite, and then I
Wow.
got a full-time job in that. So I chose sourcing and production. So basically dealing with vendors overseas, negotiating costs, trying to source materials, fabrics, textiles, things like that. And I really think that helped me so much
Yeah.
in learning about like textiles and like learning just kind of what best materials to use for our bedding, just having that prior
Yeah.
experience with like sourcing and
It's that like
vendors.
360 experience that a lot of places, I've heard good things about that. That's why I was curious.
Yeah.
Because that 360 employee experience doesn't happen at most places.
Oh, I know.
Right.
It's so rare.
So finding the full circle, and if you're someone who wants to start something, but you know you can't make a jump right now, it's
Right.
like, how do you then find a job that's going to help give you that experience and that knowledge to then be able to use it for later
Exactly.
when you can?
Yeah.
In a place like that, I mean,
I wish more companies did that because it really gives you the full picture on how things work versus most corporate jobs that kind of put you in this one role and you're kind of in this silo where it's like you don't really see how your part affects other people and vice versa. So it's just kind of hard to like make those connections. But when you really work in like multiple areas of corporate, you can kind of see how everything moves and grooves together.
Yeah.
It just makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. For sure.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I definitely think that sourcing and production helped me. Abercrombie, I also did sourcing and production. So,
Yeah.
and then obviously college was merchandising and kind of just like a culmination of all these little tidbits of experience. College, I would say like the biggest thing I learned was Photoshop.
Yep.
Graphic design,
Yeah.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
I use that literally every single day. Like
Yeah.
whether it be like I just did a photo shoot yesterday for our business and I'll be, editing photos and just knowing how to like, do graphic design, create emails and marketing materials and so
And there's so much online now that you can go and take courses in so many of these things. So
Yeah.
like, even Canva, I don't know if you
Oh, I
use
love Canva. It's a
Canva.
game
Girl.
changer. Game
Yes.
changer. Love it.
And it's like, you don't have to go to school to be able to, you can watch tutorials through
yeah.
Canva online anywhere. And it's
Yes.
like, what a great thing to have a skill in. So maybe you want to start your business one day, you're not ready yet.
Right.
Start making things in Canva for people.
Yes.
Start getting that skill down because you will absolutely use it one day.
I totally agree. I
For
use it
sure.
all the time. It's amazing.
So what's been the biggest roadblock that you guys have gotten over, that you've run up against, that you were like,
Honestly, just juggling like my time, I would say. It
yeah,
really has been
yeah,
just the mom guilt with my first daughter. I definitely had postpartum depression. That was really hard.
yeah,
Just trying to like overcome that while also trying to run the business and being like, okay, like I just need to I need to feel like I have a purpose. I need to feel like I really like have a goal in mind, because it's so easy to kind of like, when you have kids, kind of feel like you lose yourself in that and you lose your identity. So I feel like really having a purpose, having a goal, having a passion is so important, and really staying true to yourself. Because I truly believe that like when you work and you really enjoy the work that you do, that shines and that comes through.
yeah,
And your work can be your passion. And that's something that I really want to show my girls, because I have 3 daughters, that like, having a career doesn't have to just be like something you have to do,
Yeah.
where, oh, I'm going to my 9 to 5 and, it's just, it is what it is. You can really make it something you truly love.
yeah,
Um, so really just feeling like you have a purpose in life, really just doing something that you love, I would say, is probably
yeah,
been the biggest thing for me, just because,
yeah,
I want to feel like I'm making a difference and I'm setting a good example for my kids as well.
yeah, yeah. Has there been a moment in your business where
Yeah.
you're like, "Done. I've had enough. This isn't working. I'm tired. the kid, whatever." Did you?
I don't think I've ever felt like I'm done. There's definitely parts where like I've been annoyed with the business, or like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this. Um,
Is this worth it?
yeah, like it would be easier if like I just didn't have it. But then on the other hand, I'm like, but it's allowed me to like stay home with them,
Mm-hmm.
and which has been amazing. Because I feel like I spend more time with my kids now than I ever have before, and it really has allowed me to spend quality time with them. So I feel like even though it's hard, I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say that for entrepreneurs, you have to have that passion for it. That's why I was asking that question, because that's the thing that gets you through those moments where you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to work. Or a dark day, dark night of the soul, where you're like, what am I doing? Why did I choose this? Why am I here?
Yeah.
And that is the part that pushes you through those moments to the
Yeah.
other side. And usually it's some sort of success on the other side of that. But
Yeah.
I just, if you'd ever had any of those moments with your husband or each other, what do we
I felt that way with kids before. I don't know about the business. I'm like, oh my God, we have so many kids.
Well, it's a lot though, right?
It
Like
is,
it's a
it
lot
is.
to navigate and to
Yeah.
balance. It is a lot. And it's a choice that you make, but on both occasions, on all 4 occasions.
Yeah.
3 children and a business.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a lot.
We birthed them all.
Yes.
We brought them all into this world, and now we have to take care of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said your parents are both entrepreneurs, correct?
Yeah.
So do you like recall or have those memories of watching them work through some of this stuff, or like watching them work around the clock? Like what was that experience like for you?
Yeah. I feel like every dinner conversation, like growing up, would just be my mom, like talking about like her store, like the customer she kind of dealt with that day, whether it be good or bad, or just, and I remember her being so happy because she's also an artist. She would sell some of her art at the store, and she'd be like beaming when she like sold a piece of artwork. And it was just really cool to like see how excited she got and the fulfillment that she got from her job. And same with my dad. He worked really late hours, but he was such like an inspiration to me as well. And both my parents are, honestly. Yeah.
I think it makes it a little bit easier. We always talk about sometimes that conditioning of what you grow up around, and the societal like pressures of doing something like the corporate, the ladder, all of those things. But when you have an example of what it could look like to have more of that free spirit, the entrepreneurial spirit of like joy in finding something that's not the norm, it makes it just allows you to have more permission to say, like, I'm going to go for this thing.
Yeah.
I've observed it. I've seen it. I want to do this.
Right. I definitely believe that. And, after college, I kind of felt like I wanted to almost try the corporate world just because I saw my parents being entrepreneurs. I'm like, okay, I kind of have an
That
idea of what
experience,
that's
yeah.
like, but now let's just try corporate.
Yeah.
Like for shits and gigs, and let's just see what
Yeah.
it's like.
Yeah,
And I did it for 10
totally.
years, and I'm like, "Not." I think I would enjoy something else, and that's when I really was like, okay, like I don't see myself
Yeah.
working corporate forever. So I really think I need to stay true to who I am and to how I was raised and just take that leap
Yeah.
because I knew that if I wasn't going to do it, then it's like, when am I ever going to do it?
But at the same time, the opposite of that is like you might have needed that time to really curate the skills that you
Oh,
brought
definitely.
to what you now offer. The
Yeah.
fact that you were able to find the textiles, the research, the development,
For sure.
in a foreign country, by the way, and all the things, right? So
Yes.
that you really curated those skills for a long time until you were like, okay,
Yeah.
I've done this now for 2 companies. I've mastered it. I've done it for 10 years.
Right.
Now I'm ready to do it for myself.
Yeah, I definitely don't regret working corporate at all.
Yeah.
I think that it helped me so much with
Yeah.
having our business, just everything that I've learned along the way. So I
Yeah.
definitely don't regret that. I just know that like going forward that I had
Yeah.
to really stay true to like my passion and what I wanted to do.
What was do you recall a moment in corporate America where you're like, I'm done?
Oh, like every day. Like every day. I was like, yeah, it was.
You just got to the point, you got noticeable that you're like, I don't want to go to work
Yeah,
ever.
I don't know. My personality just didn't fit with the corporate. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't jive well in those
Yeah.
environments for whatever reason. I'm just more
Yeah.
of like a free spirit. I like to
Yeah.
do my own thing. I like to be my own boss.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you ever have to lead a team or do anything where you in a position of leadership?
I was a sourcing manager at Vera
Okay.
Bradley, so I didn't necessarily like lead a team, but I definitely had like a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And I liked doing it, but I was just, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing.
The burnout for having to be in charge of a department or a team, whatever, any kind of leadership when it's not your passion project can be so soul sucking.
Yes.
It's so much work and for what?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially when you're working crazy long hours. Like I remember I'd go in at 7 a.m. Sometimes I wouldn't leave until 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I get to like go home, like
Sleep.
yeah,
Eat and
sleep and like drive back the next
Do
morning.
it again.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I knew I had to make a change.
Yeah. 14 hours and it's not yours. No, thank you. What's your sign?
Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio.
Yeah.
I had 2
Nice.
Scorpios today. That's
We
crazy.
have had 2
Wow.
Scorpios today.
Do you know what your husband is?
I think he's Capricorn.
Okay. End of
January
year.
11th.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sky daddy energy, getting stuff done.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
That's what he is. Yep.
Oh, that's so
awesome.
funny.
That's awesome. So what are you guys' plans? Like what is your do you have a big push happening or like other than the part-time person, what's next for the business?
I mean, we just want to keep bringing out more product. So many of our customers are like, we want more colors, we want pillows, we want robes. Like, they just want more stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to bring that to them because
Yeah.
we've kind of slowly been growing little by little. We started off with just selling sheets and now we kind of expanded into comforters and blankets and, baby crib sheets. And we've just been slowly growing. So I want to just continue growing because that's what our customer wants. And we've grown, we've gotten a really good customer base who just loves our products. They're very loyal to us. And so I'm hoping to keep growing. I know that, and I even told my husband this the other day, I was like, no matter what we do, I always want to have a business.
Yeah.
Even if it's not simply organic bamboo, I want to do something. Like that's my passion. And that's like my goal in life is to always have a business.
Yeah.
I just think it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Starting something from nothing.
Totally. And so I know nothing about any of this. Prefacing this with a statement. I can imagine like different colors of bedding and all of these things.
Yeah.
There's like a million out there in the world. But because of the material that you use, because it's bamboo, is there a different process for dyes, like things that you have to consider to be able to expand that? Or what is that process?
Not really. We're actually able to make any color we want, which is really cool. We use non-toxic, eco-friendly dyes. And we can literally use like any Pantone color.
Wow.
Yeah, we try to stick with kind of like more neutrals, just because I feel like that's what our customer loves and it kind of matches everything.
Yeah.
We started off selling just like white, silver, and charcoal, and we kind of expanded into like sand, and we now have a blue and a sage color. But yeah, we love bringing out new colors every now and again.
Yeah.
We have a Mother's Day promotion happening in about a month. We bring out new colored throw blankets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then explain, I want people to have an opportunity, because I did say they were expensive.
Yeah.
But I want you to, because it's worth it. And I think
Yeah.
I want to give you the opportunity to tell people why they cost what they do.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of work to come up with products. Literally, you have to think about like the fabric used for the stitching. It has to be really particular so it doesn't unravel. You need to think about like the thread count of the sheets. You have to think about like the packaging. And that's one thing that we do a little differently is we reuse a lot of our scrap pieces of fabric that normally would go to waste. We use that for our packaging.
That's awesome.
We use compostable bags because we try not to use a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
And then the filling for our comforter, we actually take water bottles that would have otherwise ended up in a landfill, and we recycle those into a really, really super soft material that we use for inside of our comforter. And it's also mixed with bamboo fiber as well.
Oh, nice.
Amazing.
So
That's awesome.
we really try to keep
So
it
sustainable.
Yeah, super sustainable, closed loop system. Just try to make it as eco-friendly as possible. So
Yeah.
while you are paying a little bit more, it's really being offset by helping the environment.
Totally.
And then I understand that bamboo sheets just get,
Yes. The more
the
you
more you
wash
wear them, the
them.
softer they get.
Yes.
I'm assuming they last a
They
long time.
Yes. Yep. They
Very
last.
strong fibers.
Yep. And you can wash them as many times as you want, but yes, they get better. And we always recommend cold water whenever you wash them. It just helps preserve their softness.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are.
Which is counterintuitive, I
amazing.
think, for most people with sheets,
Right.
right?
A lot of people
you
say, oh,
want to
like,
scald them because your body oils are in there and whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So different from what you would expect.
Right.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about sustainability
do.
on many of our things,
Yeah.
and we talk about how fast fashion and the implications of that, but also when you wash sheets that maybe you got for $20 at Walmart or whatever, right?
Right.
That puts so many microplastics into our water,
Mhm.
and there's so much more that we don't think about that ripple effect causes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like people they always say like, okay, what can I do? What's one thing I can do, right? This is a really great example of something that you can do that's really supporting local
Right.
and that also is supporting our environment. Like this is a perfect example of something that you can do. And to have sheets that last a long time, like
Right.
I just feel like those things wear out so fast, the
Mhm.
cheaper material that you're using.
Right.
There's so many reasons people get shit sleep. There's so many reasons. Don't want your sheets, be one of them. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. And then what's the point of buying like cheap sheets if you're gonna have to replace them every few months anyway? You
That's
might as well.
exactly what I want to do with the whole bed. That's why I'm like, and I have read a ton about bamboo. And that's how I found you. Is that I was like really researching organic bedding.
Yeah.
And I really wanted organic bedding for the bed. And like we said, just moved here. So, and I want that bed to feel like from whatever I'm in. And it's the most luxurious place that I could possibly be. And I would never want to get out of it. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And Haley, our good friend, even yesterday was like, I'm working on my bed. I just want my bed to be the most. And I just feel like, I feel like we deserve that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We deserve that. We deserve to have a space where we collapse at night and it's just the most amazing, breathable fabric.
Yes.
And soft. And if it's not soft, you might as well. I don't care what it's made out of.
Right. I was saying
I don't care.
Yes.
You know, if
Yes.
it's not cozy and soft on my skin, it will crap what it's made.
Oh, same. Yeah. We had to go through so many samples to get it just right because I am super particular.
Yeah.
I'm like a very tactful person. And like
Yeah.
anytime I go
Plus
to a
with your
store,
eczema, right?
yeah, I'm always like feeling things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, like if it's not soft, I want nothing to do with
Nothing.
it.
Yeah.
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 And there's no better feeling than like getting into your sheets, like freshly washed sheets. At the end of the day, like right after you
It's
shower
amazing.
and you just like lay in bed.
Yeah.
It's like the best feeling in the world.
It is absolutely one of my favorite things.
Literally, it's like number one.
And we don't live by water, but I feel like my aura needs water. And so I do shower at night before I go to bed because I do.
The cleansing.
I
Yeah.
need that.
I need that too.
And in order to relax, I need it.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. So,
Yeah.
but I do. And so, but that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Shower and get in.
Where can people follow your journey? So whether it be social media or website, where are all the places they can find you?
Yeah. So we're on Instagram. It's at Simply Organic Bamboo. That's definitely where we're the most active. So you'll definitely find us there. And then our website is www.simplyorganicbamboo.com.
Yeah. The website's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did a nice job.
Thank you so much.
So tell us about 3 women that have influenced you over the years.
I would definitely say my mom, just, growing up, just seeing her business thrive. She's such a creative person. And I really think that really drove my creativity and my passion for wanting to start my own business. And then honestly, my grandma, she was also, she was an interior designer. She dabbled in lots of different things. She was also a huge inspiration to me. And then also my great grandmother. She's actually she was one of the oldest living people in the world at the time.
Oh my
Wow.
She lived to be
gosh.
113.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Wow.
She was also an entrepreneur. She ran her own, I believe it was a hotel in Florida. She wore so many different hats. She had a bunch of different kids, and she just total boss.
That is
That
awesome.
spirit is strong in your genes.
Yeah, I come from a long line of
Was this all your mom's lineage?
Yeah, a lot
Wow.
of strong women who kind of just did their own thing and was incredibly inspirational growing up and just seeing this line of women that kind of just didn't take shit from anyone and just did their own thing. It's
You're like, I
amazing.
gotta fall in line with these women.
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh
fall-
yeah.
I can't work at Abercrombie. I can't work there.
Yeah.
I'm done there.
Yes.
Oh man.
So that's what I really hope to
That's
teach my
awesome.
girls is, that you can really do anything you want. You
Yeah.
can, I feel like women don't give themselves enough credit, and they can really do amazing things.
Yeah.
Like we can literally do it.
We are bad bitches.
We
All
really
of us. I really believe that.
Yeah.
I listened to Ina Garten. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a chef and she has her own Food Network show. But
Oh, cool.
I listened to her memoir recently and she got an award and Oprah was sitting next to her and someone else. And they said all these wonderful things about her. And her book is called Be There When the Luck Happens. And she accepted the award and said just how lucky she's gotten. She sat back down and Oprah was like, why did you say that? Like, you worked so hard. Like, this
Yeah.
wasn't luck. Like, you worked really, really hard to get there. And I think that's such an important message for women is like, take up the space. Know that you had to work hard to get where you are today. Sure, you might have had a great support system, all of these things, but that's not luck.
Yeah.
That's the energy you put out, and that's what you're getting back.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So true. And a lot of times, we didn't really have a support system. Like both of our families are in Pittsburgh and we really had to kind of just figure it out on our own and really kind of just do that grind. And we didn't really have a whole lot of people to lean onto.
Yeah.
So a lot of it really kind of came from we just have to make it work. So even if you don't have a huge support system, it's good to know that you can still do this.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I get so excited when I see other businesses, other moms who are entrepreneurs. I'm just like, you go, girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We need more women. We need more moms in this entrepreneurial space because it's so important that they represent.
Totally.
Especially I have 2 daughters that have children and they're suffering in their jobs. The tear of exactly what you're talking about, going to corporate America all day, daycare, kids for a couple of hours at night, then they go to bed and it's on repeat and the grind of all of that and you're doing it for somebody else versus the rewarding factors, but it is a lot of risk, right? Like business is risky. Inherently, it's not a guarantee that just because you start a business, you're going to succeed at it. And no matter how hard you're determined or willing, sometimes things just don't work out. But trying to get them to look at anything other than, there's all these other options to be able to stay with your babies, be able to work from home. The internet has gotten such a vast array of things that you could do to be able to stay at home if that's really what you want to do, right? And still be able to contribute financially to your family because most couples need that currently. So and not have to pay $4,000 a month.
Oh,
I mean, it's
wow.
insane. It's nuts. Like $2,000, $2,500 a kid.
Wow.
It's nuts. I'm like, who affords that? How
Yeah.
do you even afford to go to work when you're paying $2,500 to send your kid to daycare?
Right.
So I don't, it's definitely a struggle. Like the struggle is real for young families currently and moms and trying to figure out that whole juggle of what to do and how to figure it out. And every family is different. And
Yeah.
you guys have found a way, even though your families were in Pittsburgh, for you
Yeah.
to be at home with your kids most of the time and to have a flexible schedule through a business that's mostly online that doesn't have to have a storefront. That's what we were talking about before you came on. Is I'm like, it used to be that in order to buy something, you had to go to a storefront.
Exactly.
And when I was young, right? And so you knew the business owners because you had to go there.
Right.
Now, like, there's so many online businesses that you have no idea if somebody's your neighbor. Like, I had no idea you were close to me.
So crazy.
I'm like, that is so amazing that she lives close to me and I can support somebody that's local. How do you think people find? No, because finding you on Instagram doesn't necessarily connect you to me locally,
Right.
right? Like, other than I think one of your stories, it said something about you being in Ohio
Yeah.
or Columbus.
Right.
And I was like, oh, she's close to
I
me.
know.
But I don't know, how do you connect for local businesses when they're online? Do you know?
That's one thing that I feel like we could definitely do a better job about is I feel like so many people don't really know about us.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I were to maybe join like a network, like a networking group, like locally, maybe like a Westerville one,
Right.
that would help.
Yeah.
Just trying to get our name out there because
Yeah.
so many people are like, oh, you're in Ohio? Like, do you have a storefront? I'm like, no, we're just e-commerce. So
Right. Right.
There are, and I'll tag all of the places to find you in our show notes today,
Okay.
but there's also like groups called like Sustainable Westerville and all these
Oh,
other
cool.
things that we'll make sure we tag as well, because I think also on top of what you're doing and of course connecting to local entrepreneurs, but you're also doing something that's really important right now, which is sustainability.
Yeah.
And there are some awesome groups here, even just in Westerville, that
Okay.
we can make
Awesome.
sure hear about you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That'd be
Exactly.
perfect.
Yeah.
awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, remember, you can watch today's episode and all the episodes on YouTube now. Very exciting. You can also listen to us on YouTube, though. So if you're busy and you don't have any other streaming services, all of our previous episodes are now on YouTube as well to stream. We're on iHeart and Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify.
So if this episode resonated with you guys, please share it. Don't forget to give us a review if you enjoyed it. And until next time, we love you.
Love you.